Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the elect of the nation of Israel. This is your brother Ayash Kabar coming at you with another short lesson that I pray that you find edifying. So, there's a lot going on in the world. Obviously, this devil has moved on to the next phase of his wicked plan, and these people are what you call full steam ahead. They see an opening and they're gonna go for it. They just spent the last 2 years convincing you sheeple that there was a disease or a pestilence in the earth, and a lot of you people went for it. A lot of you people fell right in your order, in terms of doing what this devil said to do. So now he's ready to move on into the next phase of controlling you sheeple. So this is an article out of the Blacklisted News, and the title of it is Russia Banks turn to China's UnionPay after Visa MasterCard suspension. And what's happening over there in Russia is what you would so-called call a run on the banks, where a lot of people are trying to go into the bank to get some cash, if not all their cash, and they're not being able to do so because of the sanctions that Babylon the Great has placed on Russia. So the monetary situation over there in Russia is getting pretty bad, because they have no way of doing a lot of things that they were used to doing because of the sanctions on their monetary system. Everything has been set up in such a way where if you want to do anything in the world as far as buy and sell and trade and export, import, this, that, or the other, you have to do it in American dollars. And when you do everything in American dollars, your money or the money of your nation is not as much as what it would be if you bought and sold in your own monetary system. So Babylon the Great has definitely set up a system that makes it hard for these other nations to do business. So let me go on with the article. And it reads, Slovakia. And it reads, Russian banks said Sunday they plan to issue cards using China's UnionPay system after Visa and MasterCard moved to suspend operations in Russia over Moscow's military intervention in Ukraine. The Russian Visa and MasterCard bank cards will no longer be valid abroad, and cards issued abroad will no longer work in Russia. The global payments companies announced on Saturday. Major Russian lenders Sberbank and Alpha Bank said that they are working on a rollout of UnionPay cards. Sberbank is working on the possibility of issuing co-branded Meyer UnionPay cards. We will inform you later about the time frame for the issue, Russia's largest bank, Sberbank, said in a statement. The country's largest private lender, Alpha Bank, said it is already working on launching cards on UnionPay, China's national payment system. Rosbank, Rosbank, Tinkoff Bank, and the Credit Bank of Moscow, the MKB, are also working on releasing UnionPay cards. Russian news agency reported. Russia's economy and, in particular, its financial sector are reeling under the weight of unprecedented sanctions after Moscow sent tens of thousands of soldiers into Ukraine with the aim of overthrowing the Kiev government. Russia's central bank said that Visa and MasterCards already issued by national banks will continue to work within Russia until their expiry, since all payments in Russia are made throughout the national system. However, it warned that Russians traveling abroad would need to carry alternate means of payment. So there it is, they're already lining up a new system to create a countermeasure of the American sanctions. I mean, and this goes to show you how much control these bankers have over the monetary system, where it can actually destroy a country by imposing sanctions on them, to bring that country to their knees. And what a lot of people over here in Babylon the Great don't realize is that the same thing that's happening over there in Russia is going to happen here, but it's going to happen on such a level that it's going to be terrible. A lot of people actually think that the problems that's happening on the other side of the world won't happen here, although historically speaking, a lot of things that did happen on the other side of the earth, or on the other side of the earth, never even made it over here to Babylon the Great, which is why a lot of people don't believe that the issues that Russia's having, Canada, Ukraine, and all these other countries are having won't never see the shores of America. But through the scriptures, we know that America, aka Babylon the Great, is going to get the worst outcome of all these plagues, these famines, these pestilences, these wars, these race wars, these civil wars, economical collapse. The scriptures tell us that Babylon the Great is going to get it the worst. So enough of my rambling. Let me break out a few scriptures. The book of 2 Esdras, chapter 2 and verse, I'll start at verse 18. The book of 2 Esdras, chapter 16, verse 18. Actually, I start at 17. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? And what days is Ezra's referring to? These end times, the time of Jacob's trouble, Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death. And that's what you're seeing now. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings. Judgment is going out throughout the earth, especially among you Jakes. And none of you people are actually considering that it's the work of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai bringing judgment upon you. The beginning of famines and great death. And that's what you're also in the verge of actually seeing. Great famines, because already in your in your supermarkets and in your department stores and all your corner stores and your restaurants, you're seeing shortages of food, you're seeing shortages of supplies, you're seeing shortages of personnel. I mean, you're starting to see gas prices spike way up, where there's literally no rhyme or reason to how how swift, the gas prices spike up. You know, they're not coming down, they're actually going up. You know, the supplies in the stores are actually not going up, they're coming down. You know, stores are having to do some very crafty things, to have you think that all is well and good, in terms of the supply. You know, the food supply system is based on a very intricate engineering model. That's what they call the just-in-time system. You know, gone are the days when your local supermarket had stocks in the back of certain supplies that went quicker than others. You no longer have that thing. You know, and also a lot of these truck drivers are starting to revolt and not deliver supplies. You know, the beginnings of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. So even if you go back into the book of Matthew, chapter 24, there should be wars and rumors of wars, and that's what you're hearing now. Wars and rumors of wars, but the end is not yet, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? So here it is. Ezra is asking the Lord, what shall I do when these evils shall come? Now Ezra is one of the elect, but what about those people who aren't, of the elect? What about those who refuse, to hearken unto Yahweh Hashem Yahushai? Those people are just unprotected, and those people are just going to be losing their mind out here. Verse 19, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. So all of these things are sent as scourges for amendment. All these are sent as judgments for you wicked people that don't want to repent. But for all these things, they should not turn from their wickedness, nor always be mindful of the scourges. So even with all these things going on and happening to people and happening to you, you're not gonna be mindful of your iniquity. You're not gonna be mindful of the Lord is doing these things to you. You're not gonna be mindful over the fact that, when the doors of grace was open unto you, you didn't repent. The only thing you're going to know in that day is that, these bad things are happening to me, and you're not going to understand why. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon the earth that they should think themselves to be in good case. And that's the mindset of a lot of people. They're thinking that they're in a good case. They're thinking to themselves that, you were able to buy things cheap a year ago that is now inflating, whereas now you really can't afford to buy anything of great quantity with less money. So the same thing that's happening over there in Russia is the same thing that's going to happen here. The American dollar is going to collapse. Why? Because they have to bring about the collapse of the American dollar in order to bring in their new system. And when the people don't have money to exchange for goods, the people will start to develop that mindset of, I got to do what I got to do for me and mine. And that's going to be rampant throughout Babylon the Great. Behold, victuals should be so good cheap upon the earth that they should think themselves to be in good case. And even shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. And that's what's going to happen. When you collapse this economical system over here in Babylon the Great, let alone the world, it's going to bring about war, albeit a food war, a civil war, a race war, and then on top of that, it's going to bring about a famine because a lot of people are just going to run to the store and just take what they want. They're already doing that, and it's not even that bad yet. And great confusion, and that confusion is going to come in where a lot of people aren't going to understand how could this possibly happen to the so-called greatest nation upon the face of the earth. How could these calamities happen to so-called America, home of the free and home of the brave, and a lot of people are going to be confounded, and they're not going to know what to do. Verse 22, for many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So there's going to be a great famine in Babylon the Great, There's going to be a great famine. As a matter of fact, let me grab another scripture. This is Salakia. Scriptures talk about how it's better to die by the sword than to pine away. The book of Lamentations, chapter 4 and verse 9. They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. For these pine away, stricken through for the want of fruits of the field. So it's going to be better for you to die by the sword, to just get it over with, than to pine away due to, the famine, Because a lot of people are going to, a lot of people's going to feel that famine, bro. Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to make sure that they feel the hunger, He's going to make sure that that it's him that's doing it, For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish because of the famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy, and the dead shall be cast out as dung. What's dung? Dung is shit. And there shall be no man to comfort them. So when you get cast out as shit, nobody's going to care about you. Nobody's going to care about burying you. Nobody's going to care about praying over you. Nobody's going to care about the well-being of your corpse, because it's just going to be that bad out here that nobody's going to give a damn about the next man, And the other that escaped the hunger shall the sword destroy, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down, and there shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it, and that's what time that you're actually entering into. You're actually entering into a time where nobody's going to give a damn about the next man. Nobody's going to give a damn about how you feel. Nobody's going to give a damn about what you ate. Nobody's going to give a damn about nothing about you, And a lot of people over here in Babylon the Great has been taught, to love one another, take care of your fellow brother, and, everybody look out for the next man, because we're the same, and all of that's bullshit. All of that's bullshit. All of that is witchcraft that has been instilled in your mind, to think that, this is the great melting pot where everybody can get along, whereas historically speaking, this place has shown us, especially you Israelites, that nobody gives a damn about you, And nobody's going to care about you. So, when these economical problems happen over here in Babylon the Great, a lot of people are going to be confounded. A lot of people are going to wish that they listen. A lot of people are going to wish that they hearken unto the voice of Yahweh Shem Yahushua's prophets. And at that time, it's going to be too late, The book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 15, In verse 14, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. You know, and 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 that's that race war. You know, for there shall be sedition among men. And what is sedition? Sedition is when you don't listen to the authorities. Because in that day when this economical listen, these people over here in Babylon the Great, let alone the world, has been taught that if you work, you can retire with a nice little nest egg, whereas you don't have to ever work again. And what's going to happen here very soon when this economical collapse happens, everything that these people have worked for is going to be brought to naught. Everything that these people have been grown to believe, is going to be turned out, to be a lie. So a lot of people are about to go from whatever it is that they have in their bank, in their 401ks, in their trust funds, or this, that, or the other. All of that stuff is about to go from whatever it is to zero, And there are going to be a lot of angry people out there. There's going to be a lot of angry people out there because of this, control, alt, delete that, these devils are about to, impose upon the earth. For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. In the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And that's what's about to happen. All out calamity, all out shit hit the fan, all out war. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. And that's your martial law. It's going to be so bad out here that they're going to have roadblocks, highway blocks. There's going to be local militias, stopping you from going into certain areas, because once you're stuck where you're at, you're stuck where you're at. Because, these people are going to have, like roadblocks and militias and, ways of stopping the movements of people. Because, they're not going to want a caravan of people that they don't know nothing about, just moving through their neighborhood, because it's going to be so bad out here that these local caravans are just going to be plundering, Think Mad Max, think The Road, think, the worst apocalyptic movie that you could possibly fathom in your head, and then you multiply that by the anger of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. And even then, so you still can't put a finger on how bad it's going to be. It's going to be terrible out here. It's going to be so terrible out here that even a prophet of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai is like, woe is me, who shall deliver me in those days? So here it is. Ezra knew that he was going to be around in those days, and asking the Lord, who's going to deliver me in those days? A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. And that's a man or a woman, There's going to be a lot of death, man. There's going to be a lot of anguish. There's going to be a lot of dead bodies in the street. There's going to be a lot of kids crying. There's going to be a lot of women mourning. There's going to be a lot of men begging for their lives to be left alone, For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Yeah, a lot of men are going to be afraid. A lot of men ain't going to know what to do, A lot of men ain't going to know what to do. So if a lot of men ain't going to know what to do, you women are just out back, And if you women ain't got a man of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, you're fucked, A man should have no pity upon his neighbor, because Salakia, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. And what's your sword as of today? Your gun. A lot of men are going to be going from houses to houses, room to rooms, taking what you got. And let's not get this twisted. It's not like you can hunker down in your home and the walls in your house are just that you know just that strong where you can stop a bullet. No, man. These houses are made of paper, literally chalk and paper, chalk paper and wood. With gaps in between. So there's literally no protection in between you and the outside environment when it comes to these people, you know, using their swords, to shoot inside of a home. You have no protection whatsoever because, these houses are built like shit, you know? These houses are designed as paper models, man. So you have no protection even in your homes. So when they go from house to house, room to room, door to door, you know, to take what you got, to plunder, kill, steal, and destroy, there's nothing that you're gonna be able to do. You know, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. That's coming, and that's not afar off. You know, that's not afar off. All of these calamities are coming upon the earth, and you Jakes, you still don't get the picture. You still don't understand. You know, you know. So like, a lot of you Jakes, still don't get it. Um, so like, there's a scripture that came. There's a scripture that came to mind. A lot of you Jakes don't get it, but in the day of Jacob's trouble, a lot of you people are gonna wish that you know, you paid attention. The book of Zephaniah, chapter 1 and verse 12. And it shall come to pass at that time will I will search Jerusalem with candles. And there's a constant searching going on within Jerusalem by Yahweh Shem Yahushai. You know, there's a constant sifting going on. There's a constant purging going on. And I will punish the men that are settled on their lees, that say in their heart, Yahweh Shem Yahushai will not do good, neither will he do evil. But, that's your lack of understanding and not realizing that Yahweh Shem Yahushai creates good and evil, you know? And a lot of you people just going to be confounded in that day, you know? So, you continue, to relax and act like, these things aren't happening around you. And you continue, to believe that there is going to be an economical collapse over here in Babylon the Great, the way it is happening over there in Russia. You keep believing that none of those things that these other nations are going through is not going to happen to you, and you're going to be caught out there. And as the scripture states, 2/3 of you jakes are just going to get it. Anyhow, I pray that you found this lesson edifying, and I'd like to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Kakwadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the elect of the nation of Israel. This is your brother Ayash Gabar from the GMS Virginia camp, coming at you with, I pray, what was a good lesson. And into the next lesson, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, Shalom.